This is going to be a funky fix tutorial on how to replace your iPad 2 power button. For this repair, we're going to need a pair of tweezers, a metal opening tool, a Phillips head screwdriver, a plastic spudger, and also a heat gun. Caution, these are hot. All of the tools and parts in this video are available at funkyfix.com. We're going to begin by applying heat to all of the edges of the iPad evenly till you get the glass to just around 140 degrees Fahrenheit, or just about too hot to touch. After you've gotten it to the proper temperature, you're going to want to get your metal opening tool and just wedge it in between the glass and the frame of the iPad, being super careful not to just jam it in there very fast, because you'll cause the glass to split and shatter everywhere. Now, when working your way around, you want to be very gentle, sometimes reapplying heat. Places like right there, there are ribbon cables underneath the glass that can very, very easily be damaged by a metal opening tool. So you want to be extra careful when going over that spot right there, as well as a couple more I'll be pointing out. So you may need to, in between moving it around, add heat. So right here is the Wi-Fi antenna. You want to be super, super careful not to rip that off, because if you do, what's the point of using your iPad? I mean, there's absolutely nothing an iPad can do without Wi-Fi. So definitely don't wreck that. Now, after you've made your way 100% around the iPad, it's going to open like a book, just like this. So we're going to start from the right side and lift towards the left. And now we're going to need to remove the LCD screen inside in order to remove the digitizer and the rest of the cables for the power button, of course. So there is one screw on each of the corners of the LCD screen. We're just going to remove those. And after we have removed all 4 screws, we're going to want to gently lift the LCD screen out the same way that we lifted up the glass, just from right to left, being very careful not to touch the LCD screen because it's very hard to get fingerprints off of that. And you definitely want to put it in a safe space after removing it to keep it from being scratched. Now, we just want to lift up this little safety switch, and with the plastic spudger, pull out that small connector and just go put your LCD in a nice safe spot. To remove the digitizer, we're going to need to lift up the small black flaps on the ribbon cable connectors, just like this. And then we're going to need to separate the ribbon cable from the frame of the iPad by using the plastic spudger tool, just like this, being very careful not to rip this ribbon cable. After you've separated it from the frame and the motherboard, it should come right out of its slot. Nice and easy, nice and gentle. Now, working our way over to the power button, we're going to need to disconnect just like we did the LCD right here. Pull that out and make sure that that stays detached, because we don't want any chance of an electrical short while we're working on these parts. So now we're going to grab our tweezers and remove this little rubber. And now there are 8 screws we're going to need to remove. So just follow along with the screws that I'm taking out, and make sure that you keep them all in the same order that you removed them from. You'll need to put them back where they came. grab your tweezers, remove the little black strip right there, and the frame over the camera. You're going to want to get your little spudger tool and disconnect the rear facing camera, and just keep that aside for now, somewhere where it's nice and safe, as well as the frame. Now this may be a little more difficult, but you're going to want to attempt to pull out this ribbon cable without ripping it. If it's already broken, that's alright, tear it away, but I find it a lot easier to put the ribbon cables back into the correct place when I can see how they're placed initially by Apple. Now we're going to need to pull up the whole little logic board right here. You're going to want to use your plastic spudger and very, very gently, it's not going to be as easy as that, but you need to work your way around lifting the glue up from this frame of the iPad. Now you want to grab this tape from over the ribbon cable connector and just pull it right off and disconnect this whole ribbon cable assembly. There's the logic board. Now, this is how we're going to remove the power button and put it right back onto the little metal frame. You want to be sure to keep that small piece of foam that we're taking off right there, because it does hold it into place. Now just pull it right off like this. If you'll see, there's two small holes in the metal where the power button will rest when you get the new one. See the two little black dots? They sit right in those holes. So we're going to place it right back on, same way we took it off. Move it over to the side a little bit. You might need to wiggle it around. Now, after you have pressed it into place, you're going to want to get that small strip of foam and replace it right where you took it off. So, this is the volume buttons and silence switch. And this is how it's going to be put right back on, the same way it looks at this very moment. You want to make sure, take a good mental note of exactly what it looks like, because as soon as you peel it off, that's it. Now you do have the guides, same as the power button, with those small holes that the ribbon cables should just sit right into place. Now after you've gotten off all of these sticky tape protectors, you want to stick it right in these holes. If you notice, I'm in a way like almost wrapping the ribbon cable around the metal frame. As a friendly reminder, all of the parts and tools that you see in this video, including the heat gun, are available at funkyfix.com. Now we're just going to reattach the ribbon cable to that small logic board, and you want to wrap the tape back around where you took it off. Remember not to try to remove this before you've taken the entire logic board out of the iPad, because you won't be able to get the tape off. And there we go. Now we're going to have to put it back into the iPad exactly how we took it out, sort of sliding it in there and just sticking it back into place. Now this part may be a little finicky. You might have to mess with it or grab your tweezers to get everything properly in place, but everything should fit into place exactly how it came out. Now you'll see here I had a little bit of trouble with the silencer switch, where I had to use the tweezers to fit it properly into place. Just because it likes to unfold when it's a fresh ribbon cable. I have to wiggle it around and got it in. Now this is just going to bend and contort as the curves in the wire go. Might take a little while to get that in there, but just be patient and calm. The less patient you are, the more things get broken. Yeah. Just gonna screw everything back in. You might need to do this before you put the power button in, because it'll help hold down the ribbon cables in place, so you can avoid them snapping all around from being so fresh and unbent. Now that we've gotten the power button in place, we're going to want to replace the two screws that we removed from there. Making sure to be cautious of the ribbon cable, not to screw into it. Any small tear, any very, very minute break in the wire will break it. Pop that last screw on the motherboard. We're gonna go get our camera, get the frame, put it in place. Then we're gonna want to get our actual camera and snap it down with our plastic spudger. Careful again of that ribbon cable. And just go get the frame. Stick it right into place. those 2 screws back. And voila! You have fixed your power button. Just replace that small rubber, and boom, you are all done. Now it's just time to replace your LCD screen and digitizer. Just make sure everything is stuck down properly. Might need to add a tiny little tab of glue there, or a small piece of tape. Now we want to definitely make sure to plug this back in, right here. That little safety handle that we need to snap around the cable connector, and it should sit it right into place. Perfect. Alright, so back to the digitizer. We're going to make sure that those 2 plastic flaps are up so that we can just put our ribbon cable right into the slots. Using our plastic spudger tool, just push it in there until the white line disappears, and there you go. Snap down the 2 snaps. Perfect. Be sure to be really gentle around these parts. Now go get your LCD. We're going to want to plug this back in just like we plugged in the power button connector. Snap the little safety clip around it. Boom. Now before we close it up, we're going to want to make sure that the ribbon cable for the digitizer is safely and neatly tucked around the frame of the iPad. If not, when you close your iPad, the wires will stick out the side, and you have a possibility to crack that ribbon cable, in which case your screen would just not touch anymore. So, nobody wants that. Now we just need to replace the 4 screws that we removed from each corner of the LCD. And as long as the glue on your iPad is still sticky, you can just close up your iPad, apply pressure evenly around the edges, and it should stay closed. If that doesn't work, you may need to add a small dab of gel crazy glue or super glue to each of the corners, and maybe have a heavy book sit on it, rest for about 45 minutes. You should be all set. So there you go. You have replaced your iPad 2 power button. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this. Remember, all of the parts and tools in this video are available at funkyfix.com. And as always, thanks for watching.